Hey y'all, and welcome to today's video. I am so excited. It is June and I want to kind of reflect on the best palettes, in my opinion, that have launched this year. My favorite palettes. So I sat down with my palettes and I pulled out the ones that I'm like, you know what? These are the best launches so far. Like, these are amazing. We are going to talk about them. A good old-fashioned favorites video. We're going to be talking about palettes that have launched this year that I love and I want to talk about. And if you are new here, hey, my name is Heather and makeup makes me happy. Here at my channel, we don't try to be perfect. We just want to have a good time with our makeup, whatever that means. Shimmer, glitter, talking about the best palettes of 2022 so far. That is what we're here for. So if that sounds good to you, I do hope that you will subscribe before you leave, because I upload lots of new videos every single week. But I have a lot of palettes to talk about, so let's jump into it. Before we get started, let me just say this is not going to be a ranking video, okay? This is not ranking. I will do a ranking all the palettes that I tried this year at the end of the year, but I'm not going to put that pressure on myself right now. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on myself right now. We'll save that for the end of the year. These are just my favorites. I have a few here that I want to talk about. Of course, these are all based on my personal preference. And I do ranking videos usually every month to every 6 weeks, ranking and reviewing the newest palettes that I've tried. But some of these palettes launched in January, and I want to talk about them again. I want to let you know the palettes that I think are the best this year. Also, of course, I'm going to talk about my palette. I'm not going to put this in any type of ranking video, anything like that. But if you're like, Heather, what's your favorite palette? This one, best palette of the year, the century, the millennium, best palette ever in my opinion, of course, is my collab palette with Adept. This is my very messy, very used one that I've been using for so long. But of course, this is my favorite of the year. But I feel like it's not really fair to compare other palettes to my collab palette. And the same thing with one of my best friends, Angelica Nigvis. She launched a palette with ODEN'S this year. It's gorgeous, beautiful, perfect. I love it. Like I said, she is one of my besties. So of course, this is my favorite palette. Honestly, even if I did not know her, even if I couldn't stand Angie, this would be one of my favorite palettes of the year. Let's be real. Look at this color story. Look at these formulas. Beautiful. But I'm like, you know what? These are a given. These are a given. If you know me, you know these are favorites, of course. So I shopped and I pulled, and in my mind I was thinking 10 palettes. Just 10 palettes. But it came out to be 11 palettes. So leave me alone. I make the rules here at my channel. I make the rules here. So instead of top 10, I'm doing top 11. And of course, like, these are the best palettes. But, you know, these can be like bonus palettes. But I wanted to talk about 10/11 other palettes that have launched this year that I'm loving. Again, this is no order. I literally just pulled these out. I laid them on the floor and then I just stacked them up because I don't want to rank yet. I'm not ready for that. But I want to show you these palettes that I think are beautiful color stories, beautiful formulas. I'm going to explain to you why I love these. And just know, if you're like, wait a minute, that palette's really cool. I want to see looks with that. I want to see swatches. I have videos on all of these. I got you. I have videos on all of these. So definitely check those videos out if you want to see more. But okay, now that I've said everything, I needed to say, we can talk about it. Okay, let's start with this palette from ODEN'S. This is their newest palette. This is the Solmange 2 palette. First of all, I love ODEN'S. Of course, I love all these brands. That's kind of why I'm talking about them. But I love ODEN'S. Everything that I talk about, I will link down below. If I have discount codes for these palettes, coupon codes, affiliate codes, anything like that, it will be down in the description box. So check there. But the packaging on this is beautiful. I love the sun. I love the moon. I think the packaging is gorgeous. But when you open this palette up, you have a beautiful mirror, beautiful inside, But this color story is really beautiful, and the formulas are also gorgeous. I love the way this palette is laid out. I think it's really thoughtful. The way they put the blues on a row, they put the purples on a row, and then they put these yellowy orange with the deep black on a row. So if you're looking at this and you're like, I don't know what to do with a palette like that, you can stick to the rows. Of course, you can watch my videos. I'll give you tons of inspiration because I did create some looks with this. But I really like the way they made it super user-friendly, so you can stay right there if you want to. The formulas in here are also beautiful. This shade right here, Neptune, I want to use it every time I open this palette. I have to stop myself sometimes, but it's so beautiful. It's like this denim cool blue shade that I really, really enjoy. I like that we have this bright shade here for an inner corner pop. Again, beautiful pigmented mattes, beautiful pigmented shimmers, really, really sparkly shades, really, really beautiful palette. I just think this is so special. And listen, we're only halfway through the year, so all of these brands, all of these palettes I'm going to talk about, I'm like super excited to see what's going to come. We still have a whole half a year left for makeup to launch, but this one has been a favorite. Okay, let's talk about this Sigma new Mod palette. Pinks and berries and mauve tones have been really big this year, and this is like my favorite one that's launched. It's my favorite one. I love the range we have in this palette. I really like Sigma. I've bought a ton of Sigma products, and this is one of my favorite palettes from them. I really like that we have light mattes and shimmers, and we have dark mattes and shimmers. I like that we have neutrals in this palette as well as pinky mauve berry tones. I like these four right here create a look. These four right here create a look. I talked earlier about how Odin's laid the palette out in a really pleasing way with the rose. This palette, I think, is laid out in a way that you can go in quads and create beautiful looks. Like I said, this quad right here, done. This quad right here, done. This quad, done. This quad, done. Like, you can stick to these quads and you can create easy looks if you're feeling overwhelmed. Of course, I love to mix and match all over the palette, but I just like when things are kind of set up in an easy, user-friendly type of way. There was also a beautiful brush that came in here. I keep that with my brushes though, because I use that all the time. I just think this is beautiful, and something that really kind of takes this palette to the next level for me is the inclusion of this shade right here, Avant Garde, because this is a pinky purple to blue shift. And it can really just take that look up to the next level. You can do a super simple like neutral eye and pop this on the inner corner, and it's going to amplify it and make it something really fun and different. I just think the mattes and the shimmers and the super sparkly shades were really well thought out with this palette. I think the packaging is super beautiful and it's a favorite. Okay, I think this right here may be my favorite ColourPop ever. Like, this palette from ColourPop is so beautiful. This is the palette they did in collaboration with Star Wars. At the time that I'm filming it, I think this palette is out of stock, but I bet they will restock. They usually do when something's super hyped and popular. First of all, I love the packaging on this, and I love the size of this palette. Look at this color story. It's got a bunch of neutral shades, but this silver right here is absolutely gorgeous. It is a standout shade. I think it is so, so beautiful. These two shades are new to me from ColourPop, like this type of formula that was this marbled, super sparkly formula. I had never tried that from ColourPop, and I really like it. The matte dark shades that they have in here, the black, the dark brown, the matte kind of red and navy shade, spectacular. Pigmented, buildable, blendable, everything you want in a deep dark matte. And then we have this kind of like duochrome up here that's like a silvery blue green. I love that we have a Super Shock formula up here. This is like a white base with some purpley blue reflex to it that I really like. I like that we can go a little more cool toned. I like that we can make things really warm. I just think this is very, very versatile. ColourPop, I can tell, really put a lot of thought into this color story, this packaging, and in my opinion, it's It's the best palette they've ever done, so of course it's a favorite. I really like ColourPop. I love trying their products. I think they're at a great price point. This one right here, though, is like next level. Okay, of course House of L made it to this video. This is from Adept. This is the House of L palette. This is the first time Adept has done a 9-pan like this, and I love, love, love the format. Again, we have a really smart layout with this one because I think you can stick in columns and create a super simple eye look if that's what you want. Put a little bit of this shade right here, Mon L, in the outer corner. Put this shade right here on the inner corner and put this shade right here all over the lid. You can do that really going down these columns. I think it's beautiful. This is one of the prettiest multi-chromes I've ever seen in my life. Zor L. It shifts from like gold to green to pink to red. It's so dimensional. It's so beautiful. I love how intense it looks on the eyes. I love that we have some lighter shades in here too. These are beautiful one and done shades. I love the Adept matte formula. I mean, listen, you know I love Adept, like hello, I collabed with them, but this is really, really special. I love the packaging. I love the theming. I feel like this is a palette for makeup lovers because it's such like a creative, fun color story. It's not something we see all the time. And I mean, can you see the dips in the pan? Like, I have been using and loving this one. Okay, this palette is what's on my eyes today. It's one that launched at the beginning of the year, and it's one I've loved more and more. The more I use it, the more I love it. This is the Nomad Cosmetics Whistler Snow Lodge palette. So Nomad is really fun brand. They do palette themes based on like locations where they've been, different destinations, and I think this one is so, so fun. We have a nice big mirror in this palette, but the color story in here is so beautiful. I had a lot of fun with this palette when I first got it, but the more and more and more I use it, the more I love it. I think this black down here, Ski Out, is beautiful. That's what I have kind of really close to my lower lash line. I like to deepen up looks with this palette. And I know that this palette, it's Whistler Snow Lodge, like it's snowy vibes, but I feel like the look I created today is like siren. I am ready to like live in the ocean, call sailors to their death, live my best life. Like, there's just a versatility in this palette is what I mean. I love that we have this kind of duochrome up here, this white to pink. That's what I have on the inner corner right now. I have these two blues in the crease. I have this shade right here, Whistler, all over the lid. It's just a really beautiful, versatile palette. Again, there's enough neutrals in here that you can create a really pretty neutral look. I love this Soa Mousse down here. It's such a beautiful bronzy shimmer. It's gorgeous. And then I love all these colorful tones too. I just feel like this palette has a lot of options. Again, I think it's laid out in a really beautiful way. Like, you can kind of stick with those 6 shades. If you're not sure what to do, create a beautiful look, you can stick in the rows or the columns, whatever you want to do. I just feel like this has a really nice layout. I love the Nomad quality. I think this palette is super duper beautiful, and of course it's a favorite. Okay, next up, I have to talk about All I Ever Wanted Volume 2 from Unearthly Cosmetics. This is beautiful. This was like a palette that I was super excited about because I have Volume 1 and I love it. So here is what the inside of this one looks at. Like, absolutely beautiful. I love all these green and blue tones. I love these purpley tones. But what I think is super fun about this one are these kind of more yellow tone duochromes. Like this shade right here, Opaline, that's a kind of a yellow to a pink shift. We have Sabre that is more of a yellow to a green shift. We have this super beautiful, impactful gold here. I love that we have a couple of more neutral shades like Poe, that is this beautiful slate, really intense shade, and then Night, that's this dark brown, intense, crazy, high shine shimmer shade. Just really, really beautiful. There's some so pretty formulas in here. I love this shade right here, Tarot, that goes from like a pink to an orange. I love the mirror in here. I love reaching for this palette to add some pizzazz to looks. This multi-chrome right here, Thorn, gorgeous. I mean, I could talk about how beautiful all of these shades are, but I just really enjoy this. I like the mix of like multi-chromes, duochromes, shimmers, high shine shades. Like it's really, really special. I've been enjoying this one a lot. This one is newer to my collection, but I love it. Okay, Blend Bunny, the Dollhouse. This one hit the nail on the head for neutral lovers and color lovers, in my opinion. This is another one that launched pretty early on this year. I think this launched in January, maybe a little bit later, but I love this layout. I love that we have this whole bottom and top row of shimmers. I really like the new Blend Bunny shimmer formula. I think it's really nice and impactful and beautiful. I love that we have this deep row. Now, if you're just looking at it in the palette, it's gonna look like these shades are very similar, but they're not. We have like a deep, really warm brown. We have a deep, more cool toned mauve-y purple. This right here is a pure black. We have a deep, more like cool tone brown. We have a deep, more warm purple. We have a deep kind of olivey brown. Just really, really special. If you're somebody like me who really just enjoys playing with makeup, enjoys blending, applying, mixing things, I think you will really like this one. Also really like this row of kind of really soft pastels. It can be great for blending out shades. And I love this mid-tone row. Again, this is a palette that's really thoughtfully laid out. You can stick with the columns if you want to, and you can create a beautiful look that way. I just think this is beautiful. I really, really like the formula of Blend Bunny. I'm very excited to see what they launch in the future, but this palette is just perfection. Okay, Serenity palette from Cosmic Brushes. So good. This palette is only $25, which I think is such a good price point. Like this palette, the quality is amazing. The color story is what drew me in. I love indie brands. Indie brand means independently owned brands. It doesn't mean small brand. It means independently owned brands. I love shopping small, supporting small business, and I love supporting indie brands. This color story drew me in. I'm like, I've never heard of that brand. This color story is gorgeous. They posted swatches and I was like, I have to try that. And this palette lived up to everything I thought it would be in my mind. The mattes are pigmented. They're easy to blend. The shimmers, beautiful. You can layer these shadows. They're absolutely gorgeous. Not only is this a beautiful color story, but it's at a great price point. I love the layout of this. There's not a lot of wasted space. I just think this is really, really beautiful palette. I love the purples, the greens, the oranges. This brown right here has such a beautiful olive undertone to it that it's a really unique shadow in my collection. I think this palette is so, so beautiful. I'm very excited about the restock. I know it's coming soon. I don't know the exact date. I can definitely share that when I find out, or if I do find out between now and the time this video goes up, I'll put it in the description box. But this is beautiful. This palette is mostly mattes, but the shimmers in here are really, really nice. I especially love this shade Opal. It transforms depending on what mattes you pair it with, what you put it on top of. It's just stunning. Also from Unearthly, I pulled Leather and Lace. I couldn't not talk about this palette because this is another one, kind of like what I said about the Dollhouse palette. It's neutrals for the people that love color, and it's color for your people that love neutrals. I've had such a good time playing with this. I think Unearthly has a beautiful formula. I feel like they've just really stepped it up with their mattes. They're pigmented, they're easy to blend, you can layer them. I always have a great experience when I work with Unearthly mattes. I think they're so beautiful. So the fact that I get 6 beautiful matte shades, I love. I love that we have a black and 2 kind of grungy olive shades, these beautiful deep purples, and these nice warm browns. And then these shimmer shades over here are very, very impactful. They have a lot of sparkle, a lot of shine to them. I think it's absolutely beautiful. If you want a super intense, pretty, sparkly highlight, this can be worn on the face too. Well, really any of these, but I think it's just beautiful. You get a nice big mirror in here. I love this palette. It's quickly become a favorite of mine. I think it's so wonderful. Again, with that beautiful layout that makes it super easy to use. If you have never tried Unearthly Cosmetics, maybe you're a little intimidated by some of the more bold color stories, I think this one would be a great one to start with because the formula in here is that amazing Unearthly formula, and you can really kind of play with the neutrals and then dabble into color if you want to try something new. I love this palette from Lunar Beauty. I think this is so beautiful. This is the Nude Prism palette, and this is definitely my favorite neutral palette that has launched this year. I love the options that we have in here. I love that we get these warm kind of camel colored mattes down here. I love that it goes very dark with this black to very light. I love that we have these kind of more pinky peachy tones up here. I love that we have a good range of shimmers. We have bronzy tones. We have this nice beautiful icy white. We have these pinky tones with just really beautiful. So if you want to create neutral looks, you have variety in this palette. Like I said, you can stick with these down here, or you can go with these up here and get a neutrally but pink leaning look. I think this is really fun. I love the mirror. I love the packaging on this one. I just think this is a really well thought out neutral palette. And if you are a neutral lover, I have to know, like, do you have this palette? What do you think of it? Because I think it's beautiful. I feel like it was very easy to work with. The mattes just blended so easily and effortlessly, and they look beautiful on the eyes. But of course, I'm a sparkle girl, so these shimmers, I just love. Last, but certainly not least, because this is all random order, is the Glamlite Kellogg's Frosted Flakes palette. This is so cute. First of all, like, hello, it looks like a cereal box. But then opening it up, this is exactly what I wanted from Glamlite. This is a fun color story. We've got a little bit of neutral in here, so you can create a neutral look. You've got lots of blue options, and these are blues that I wanted from Glamlite. These really dark tones, this bright kind of true blue, these beautiful shimmer shades, it's just stunning. I love the mix of the orange and the gold. I think it's such a fun color story. Again, I love that we have a shimmery white. I love that we have a black. I love that we have these neutral tones. I really like the Glamlite formula. I think it's so nice. It's so lovely. The shimmers look wet on the eyes. Just really beautiful. I think this theme was super cute, and I think the color story translated so well for an eyeshadow palette. When I look at this, I feel inspired. I can do monochromatic orange looks, monochromatic blue looks. I can do a neutral look. I can mix and match and just really have fun with this palette. And that's what I like about makeup. I like to have fun. I like to create. So those are my favorite palettes of the year. I would love to know what your favorite palettes of the year are. I cannot wait to see what is to come for the rest of the year. I mean, we're almost halfway through this year, so there's still so much fun stuff to come. I'm excited. As I was getting ready for this, I was kind of also looking at, like, what were my least favorite palettes of the year? What were the ones that were just meh, okay, but I really wanted to focus on the best of the best today, and that's these. I'm gonna link all of these down below. Before I go, I do want to tell you what's on the rest of my face. So again, let me know what your favorite palettes of the year are. Even if you're on a no buy and you haven't bought anything new, if you've been shopping your stash, tell me, what is your favorite? I am wearing my JUVIA'S Place bronzer today. I'm wearing Lilly lashes in the style Miami Flare. I'm wearing my Pat McGrath Bridgerton Blushing Delights Blush and Highlighter palette. Listen, I know I said this packaging was annoying, but I freaking love the formulas in here. I think it's beautiful. I'm wearing my Pat McGrath Structure Lip Liner with my Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump in the shade Mixed Berries. That is what I have on the rest of my face. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a super awesome, amazing, fun day, and I will see y'all in another video very soon. Bye!